Good morning. The Copycat node in Nuke is insanely good at giving us quick rotos of people, but I want to see how good of a job it could do with something that isn't people, something that is, I don't know, a toy lightsaber. I have this footage of me at work waving around a toy lightsaber looking like a complete jackass. I grabbed a coworker. I was like, could you film me? I want to be a YouTuber. And if you know anything about rotoscoping, which you probably do because you clicked on this video, you know how long it would take to rotoscope every single frame of this lightsaber. It could take hours, if not a day. So that's why we're going to use Nuke's Copycat to do it for us. And if you don't know, Nuke's Copycat node is kind of like their own machine learning node that you can train your own stuff on. You give it a before and an after, it will learn what you like, and it will do that for you for other frames. It's mainly used for rotoscoping. There's infinite case uses for it, but I mainly use it for rotoscoping. So see this as like a Spark Notes, a speed run tutorial of how to use the Copycat node. The first thing we got to do is we got to find our training frames, the fewest amount of frames that best represent the entirety of our video. So if we grab one from the beginning, like I look pretty freaking badass in that one, so let's do this frame. Hit tab, we're going to add frame hold, and it's already set to frame 57. That's what we're on. We can set this off to the side for now though. Let's find a frame towards the middle. Beautiful. God, I'm very photogenic. So now we have frame 216, and I want one with motion blur. Yeah, I want sideways motion blur like this. And frame 400, add another frame hold node, and we can plug actually all of these back in. And then next up, we froze these frames, but they are still the original length of our clip. We want to get these down to one frame each. And how we do that is with a frame range node, set that to 1 to 1. You can copy this, Control C, Control V, paste those. Now all of our frames are one frame long, but now we just got to get them in order because right now they're a little bit all over the place. So what we're going to do that with is an append clip node. We plug in 1, we grab over here 2 and 3, and we can actually view this. Go to frame 1. Oh, look at that. It's actually frame 57. Go to the next frame, frame 216. Next frame, frame 400. And the rest are going to be frame 400. It kind of leaves off at what the last frame it saw was. And if I'm going a little fast, that's the point of a Spark Note tutorial. For more information, Foundry has their own Copycat tutorial. It was the first Nuke tutorial I ever watched. It's perfect. It explains everything, but we're here for speed, not accuracy. So now what we have to do is the good old-fashioned rotoscoping. We have our frames, we have our before, the video of us. Now we need the after. All we need is just an isolated clip of that blade. Go to frame 1, make sure you're viewing this one, hit O to bring in a Roto node, and it should already have the Bezier curve tool selected, and we just got to isolate our blade. Good old-fashioned, reliable rotoscoping. I never got good at it. Bing, bong, bing. Perfect. Go to our next frame. Same thing. Hit O. Where are you? Right there. God, I'm so beautiful. I am a peak alpha male. Next frame. Hit O. Where are you? Bam, just like that. And now if we go to frame 1, we view this roto node and we hit A. This is still our alpha channel. What we have to do is double click on it and set alpha to replace. And now our alpha channel is just whatever this roto node is. We should do that for all of these. Double click, replace, double click, replace. Perfect. And now if we view our append clip node, hit A. Perfect. Next frame. Perfect. Next frame. Flawless. But all of our before and our after stuff is still kind of mixed together. We want this as the before and this is the after. We got to separate those into two different channels. So what we're going to do that is down here after the append clip. Let's bring in one of these. I do not know what these are called. I always call it in my mind's eye, I call them buttons. There's probably a better word for these. But you bring it over here like this. I'm just going to separate these down into two separate paths. This will be our before, aka our input. On our input, all we need to do is add a remove node. Set it to keep RGB. And just like that, it has no alpha. If we hit A on here, there's no alpha channel. So now we're going to go to the other side where we only want that alpha information. But the thing is, we actually don't want it to be in alpha because we want something more visible. So what we should do is add in a shuffle node, and we will plug our alpha into Foundry always does the red channel, like their Z depth estimation and their mod net, but red is the bad guys, and I ain't no Sith. I'm actually going to plug mine into the blue channel, and then I'm going to just hide all these for now. Boom, look at that. So we hit 1 to view this side, 2 to view this side. Look at that. That's a perfect before and after. But the thing is that it still has all that alpha, red, and green information. So we're going to do the same thing we did over here. We're just going to add in a remove node. We're going to set this to keep RGB only blue. We don't want to give Copycat too much information. We only want it to look at what it absolutely needs to, just the red, blue, and green information of this video and just the blue information of this video. And then now we can actually bring in the Copycat node and we can plug our inputs. Oops, I got them a little backwards. Input on the left over there. Foundry, you should switch these inputs. Before has always been on the left. So before over here, and then ground truth, that was our after. That's going to be over here. And then we double click on that. We go to our data directory. This is where it's going to store all of this model training information. This is where it's going to store the instructions on how to rotoscope our lightsaber. I always just throw mine on my desktop and delete need it after. But if you actually care and you actually want to keep this information, if you're rotoscoping your dog and you want to keep every time you've ever rotoscoped your dog and you have a perfect like pre-trained model on how to rotoscope your dog, save this somewhere important. I'm throwing them in a folder called Lightsaber Copycat. And I'm going to hit open. And typically if you're rotoscoping something like people, you can actually do initial weights, human matting, and it will actually start off with a pretty good idea of what humans look like. But considering Foundry hasn't for some reason have a pre-trained model on toy lightsabers, kind of weird. We're actually just going to ignore this and we're just going to hit start training. If we go over to our progress, we actually see it training right over here. This is our before, our input, our after, our ground truth. And then if I could see better, if the sun wasn't hitting right on my monitor, I could see this third row right here. That is the computer's best guess at what we want it to do. This is it checking itself. Ideally, this middle aisle, our video, is going to directly match the robot's best guess. This is it training. This is it messing up upper here, and this is it getting good down here. And as you can see, it insanely quickly gets good. I love Foundry, and I also love Dell computers because that's the whole reason this thing's going so fast. I used to do this on an iMac, and it would take days, but you know that whole drill. And don't forget to also go to the Dell webinar. First link in the description. How many times do I have to ask you? Please just go to the Dell webinar. Sign up today, or they'll take away my Dell computer. Wow, look at that. It's already pretty much got a good handle of what we want. Did you see that? I could probably cancel it right now. I'm gonna let it go for 5 more seconds. I'm gonna get a water bottle because I'm really sweaty, but as soon as I come back, it's probably already done right now, but I'm gonna give it a little bit more time, and my mouth is so fucking dry. If I could save time in a bottle. Bing bong. Now if we hit create inference, this will give us a perfect little, ideally perfect. This is our custom little model that we just created. And ideally, we should plug this into our footage and it should instantly give us like a perfectly isolated rotoscope of our lightsaber. Let's take our footage, just paste it over here for simplicity. View this. Let's go to a random frame we didn't see before, like that one. Perfect. I don't believe we trained it on frame 385. No, we did not. Plug our node in, view it. That's pretty fucking cool, right? You can kind of see it's still these little errors over here. If we hit G to view a grade node and kind of just fuck it up a little bit, you can see like it still has little errors, and these are common. Like these are the ones that for sure go away. Like when you see like these little tiny lines, like it's still just outlining our footage. Like we really crank it, it's pretty much like our original clip. But these are like the little errors that go away with time if I just trained my model for longer. But the good news is you don't even have to do that. If I just hit G and I actually go to something like right here, it's very hard to see, but there's a little bit of a faint line right here, and we just increase our black point, it gets rid of those things. Look at that. We have a perfect rotoscope of our lightsaber. Oh, it's a little sloppy. What is that? Why does it look a little funny right there? Maybe let's play with this a little more. Lower our white point. It's kind of making it shittier, but that's still kind of fucking cool. Okay, so now we're just going to add a merge node, plug our B into our footage, our A into this grade node, view this, and let's put some effects on this. Let's actually make this a lightsaber. Let's plug in a shuffle node. How about this? Let's plug in a shuffle node, plug our blue channel into green and red just to make it white. Perfect. And then let's add in a glow node. Perfect. What Jedi use the white lightsabers? Ahsoka, doesn't she use a white lightsaber? Am I a fake fan? Fuck, I might be a fake fan. It's a little gross. It's got the mumps just there a little bit. So what we could do is maybe add in a road node, set it to blue or just all, I guess. What if we like choke it just a little bit, like to 4, and then we duplicate it, but we said it's like -4. Does that kind of get rid of your mumps a little bit? Not really. I'm sure top comment. I like when you guys comment little corrections. I always pin the best ones of how to clean this up a little bit. Someone's already like typed it, hopefully, and I love you. But that's pretty cool. And also, if we set glow, if we set the tint back to blue, because we are a Jedi. Boom! We got a blue lightsaber. That's pretty fucking rad. And, you know, this is another one of those, like, it's not perfect, but look how fast I did it, which is the perfect summarization of the AI argument. Doesn't look good, but look how fast I did it. But it's still pretty cool. If I took longer time, this would be pretty cool. Definitely not as good as if a human actually took time and added the motion blur and like the actual distortion of a lightsaber. And I could also play with this more. I could add like, I could play with this more. I'm not blaming the computer. I'm blaming myself. It's a pretty cool technique. Not much more to say. I love you. Bye.
You look stupid.